Hello. Hello. Am I audible, madam?
Sir, yes, it is visible, sir, and your voice is also clearly audible.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes, sir.
very much.
Yes, sir.
So let me talk about inflections like ed markers, way to pronounce ta, way to shall we have da and it. So da, ta, da, it. For example, words like, I'm not using the terminology related to phonetics and all these things, just for layman's understanding. When you find words like PASSED, pass, and then it's ED1, we add EDs, that's the past tense form, and then ED2, that's a past participle form. When you say PASSED, words ending in ED, they should take ta. Say, we shouldn't say past. And this is a common mistake among many students. They say, I have passed, PASSED. It's past, PACKED. It's not packed, packed. MISSED. It's not missed, it's a missed. Ta sound. So generally, what happens? People say we keep just listening to them. I I received a missed call. No, this is not missed call. This is missed. So this adds refinement to your speech. This can hone your communication skills, and you can take care of these things. And da sound, cold, burst, right, boiled. And then we had it also, where want, words like want, when they end in ed form, it's not wanted, it must be wanted. PADDED, pat it. PAT, just let me pat the organizers, despite the difficulties, despite some technical glitches, despite some problems, they are able to hold this webinar in a successful manner. So let me congratulate. So pat, I pat it, the organizers. That's the id form. These things you can make a note. And generally, when you want to hone your communication skills regarding pronunciation part, regarding the speaking part, you have to mind the length of the vowels. Wherever you find long vowels, just you pronounce them for a longer duration. And if you find short vowels, just shorten them. For example, even in many songs also you find, it may be Titanic or it may be in Hindi, some movie songs, no? You may come across these things. Heal, 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 feel. When there is just a long vowel, you pronounce for a longer duration. And short vowels, and then shorten them. Diphthongs, you should be cautious regarding diphthongs also. Say, for example, the length of the vowels, that will add beauty to your speech also. So take care of the length of the vowels. And this can be done using minimal pace, rich, reach, bit, beat, sip, seep. They say as students can receive training in all these aspects. And the next important thing that will add beauty to your speech, the concept of weak forms, where to use strong forms and where to use weak forms. For example, conjunctions, then prepositions, and then demonstratives, articles. You can have their strong forms as well as weak forms. There are about 45 words with different strong forms and weak forms. A and D, and it may be ND, it's only and then can. Strong form is can, and then Weak form maybe so weak forms and strong forms. Make a note of this. These things are there in your textbooks also in communication skills course. Make a note of this. And then contracted forms. In spoken English, we use contracted forms to the maximum extent. Do plus not, don't. Will plus not, won't. Could plus not, couldn't, shouldn't, mustn't, or hadn't, hadn't. All these things are useful just to refine your speech. Make note of contracted forms also. And in English, we said there is no gemination, but except a few words like stalely, stale plus ly, stalely. There is gemination that's permissible. But in most of the cases, we don't have gemination. Gemination is nothing but the doubling of the consonantal sounds. And words like better, better, and the learners of English, the beginning stage, because they think that it's a spelling based, and then they say better, better. Better is the wrong usage. Just avoid that, and there is no gemination. All these clusters, you can just make only one single letter. That's better and better. Pidding, pitting. So most of the words, you can make a list of the words and then keep practicing. That will also add beauty to your speech. And take care of silent letters. Say subtle, subtle, and just words, simple words like knife, walk, talk, where they are silent. Certain words they are also called aphthongs. So you can mention all these things, but in your day-to-day conversation, you can make a list of those silent letters, and when you pronounce them correctly, that will be an additional point. And then already I talked about this linking or. But in English, if you avoid this or, say in future, F-U-T-U-R-E, in nature, N-A-T-U-R-E, but where you find the instances of linking or, if or is followed by some vowel, then you had to pronounce that. In other contexts, in other places, no need to pronounce this or. And this is about or, and wherever you find this, you can avoid whether it's in IRP or it's received pronunciation. And finally, just I need to talk about this internalization. What is this internalization? You need to acquire language, and language acquisition requires certain things. The first part is you want to be natural. Be natural. Say, I wish to speak like Winston Churchill. I would like to speak like George Bernard Shaw. No need. Try to be natural. You speak as it comes to you. But there will be mother tongue impact or influence of mother tongue that can also be avoided to some extent when you follow all these steps. So be natural. That's the first thing in the process of internalization. And in one of the workshops organized by my teacher, Professor Vivian Rajendra Prasad, was talking about the fifth skill. There are four skills in language acquisition. They are LSRW: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And the fifth skill being thinking, thinking in English. So this is a very important skill. It is said the other four skills, L, S, or W, they can be done by someone, by somebody on your behalf. But this fifth skill can't be done. You have to think. You have to just frame some signs, frame some symbols, and you had to speak. You had to produce sounds. So for this, you need to think in English. How to think in English? And there are different ways. Let's say you can build up your vocabulary also, and don't try to translate. This is another way. Your mother tongue is Telugu. your mother tongue is Urdu or any other language, Marathi, Gujarati, or whatever it may be. So if you want to take that word and try to translate into English, there will be some kind of disturbance. So you shouldn't translate. You have to think of the term, that word. It may be a small word, it may be a dialogue, it may be a conversation. You need to think in English and avoid translation. This will be an initiation into internalization of the language. And what about the rules? Shall we take care of all the rules? The beginning, it may be useful. The more you practice, the better will be your comfort level, and there is no need to remember the rules. Automatically, they come to you. And most of the speakers, they go wrong regarding the third person singular and the use of be forms. Maybe with I have, with you have, he, she, it has. Say we come across many speakers who use have with third person and use has with first and second person. So these problems can be avoided if you keep on practicing. So when you start internalizing, you can you can get rid of the remembrance of all these tools. So the best way is just speak. That's all. So as the language comes to you, to keep on speaking and you will gain confidence. At the beginning also I told you how to overcome all the psychological barriers, just like fear, anxiety, stress. You need to develop self confidence, and for self confidence you need to practice. So what about the use of language? So the last point, the seventh one, I talked about that the element of courtesy. You should be courteous in your conversation. You should include the element of courtesy. So for this, you had to make use of the words like please, thank you, sorry. And this even you must have come across an essay by A.J. Gardiner on saying please, in which he talks about the three words. He compares the life to an engine. It's a machine. For keeping the machine running smoothly without any problem, we need to apply grease, we need to apply oil to that. And these words act as oil. And then the life will go on happily. It will be a smooth journey for you. So keep using please, thank you, and sorry in your conversation. There are many words, and then you can make use of these things also. So in our conversation, we need to avoid cliches. What are the cliches? Overused words, worn out words we keep on using. Even in conversation, many speakers actually they keep on repeating this word. What I mean, or basically. So you need to avoid certain cliches and use of functional English. How to make requests, where to use formal English, where to use informal English, how to seek information. For all these things, the English that is useful for certain specific functions. But I'm not going to talk about business English or English for specific purposes, ESP. It's English useful for our day-to-day transactions. It may be requests, it may be commands, it may be orders, or it may be seeking information or providing information or asking for information. So in all these contexts, what kind of English is used that you can make a note of these things? The best thing, you attend any webinar, any workshop, any training program. How do you acquire knowledge? How do you acquire the knowledge of the usage of English? Or for knowledge, language acquisition, only one mantra is there. That's exposure and practice. You need to expose yourself. You need to practice a lot. Then only language will come to you. So it's a skill. Unless you practice, it will be very difficult for, I'm talking about the students. The more you practice, the better will be your comfort level regarding the acquisition of any language. And one more thing we have, whenever you pause during your conversation, you search for certain words, and they are called gap fillers, just like ha, and some words are also there. These gap fillers should be required for effective communication, but you need to avoid the overusage. So if you keep on telling number of times in your speech, then this will become a source of irritation for the receivers or for the listeners. When the words like I mean, it's kind of, most of the people keeps using this one, then likewise, when they say some speakers, they keep on telling, yeah, number of times, all right, sort of, and many more words are here. We need to use them judiciously. The judicious use of gap fillers is required for effective communication. So I talked about communication, then different types of communication, verbal and non-verbal, then verbal, oral communication, written communication, then now non-verbal, so kinesics, then haptics, then acoustics, then proxemics, and coming to certain tips, how best you can refine your communication skills, how best you can hone your communication skills, certain tips in terms of various things, and finally, internalization of the language. So, how to think in English, all these things we have discussed, and including some gap fillers. Here are some books for you: The Quick and Easy Way to Effective Speaking by Dale Carnegie, and then Spoken English. You find millions and millions of books when internet resources are also available. You can make use of your smart apps, your mobile phones, download apps, learn English. Even you can make use of BBC links to enrich your English and your communication skills. So I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity of sharing some of my views with you. Thank you very much. Over to Dr. P. Shahnas, Head of the Department of English.
Okay.
Thank you, please.
All right. Yes, yes. Mute and also on now.
Thank you so much, sir. The lecture was quite insightful and extremely helpful for the participants. I once again thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation to educate all our participants. Your presence and gentle words are a source of encouragement to all of us. Thank you, sir.
Dear participants, if you have any queries, you can ask now. Please be on unmute when you are asking the query. Dear participants, you are requested. Or else kindly type in the chat box whatever queries you have.
Yes, I see some messages in the chat box. It's by Madhavi, candid presentation. Thank you very much. There will be some disturbances here and there. Any query, most welcome,
I request
please.
now Zubin Alex to convey vote of thanks.
Sir, is there any difference between Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Hello,
Listening
sir.
to you.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yes, please.
This is Adapir from Sandur Polytechnic in Ballari district, sir. Sir.
Please.
Sir, so is there any difference between intonation and pitch?
Okay, good. It's a good question. The intonation is nothing but the variation, the pitch level. Pitch, how high and how low. That's the frequency of your voice. For example, in sentences like, I am audible. Am I audible? Am I audible? So here tone comes. The variation is the pitch. The pitch variation is called intonation. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Mr.
Thank you so
M.
much, sir.
Dodapir, thank you
You
very
have
much.
answered my
Right.
question, sir. You have answered my question. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Lakshmi Parwate says, thank you for the informative session.
Any more queries, please, participants? The session is open to you all for queries.
So very good evening, sir. I'm Shivaji Shankar from Prodha 2. So I'm very happy to see you after a long time. Exactly 11 years ago, I've seen SKA department, both of you. So your lecture is very clear cut and it's really informative and very clear, sir. We got everything, whatever that we would like to know about it. Once again, we got from the expert level training. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much to see you, both of you. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Great thing.
So in 2009, I have seen you, both of you, sir, in a college, SKU campus in English department. So thank you, sir.
Great.
Hello, sir.
Welcome, please.
Hello.
Welcome, please.
Hello. Good evening, sir. I am Karunanidhi, sir. I am very happy listening your lecture, sir. Very happy, sir. In the pandemic situation, there is a big gap between the student and faculty members, sir. How to overcome? Because there is a gap is there between the student and the faculty members. Already, talking about the subject, already they forgotten about all these things, sir. How to overcome the gap, sir, regarding the student side?
It's a good question. Some people are in praise of this pandemic. Because of this COVID-19 situation, man has learned how small he is. So even in human values and professional ethics classrooms, we keep telling all these things. Earlier, we used to think that we were big and we did this, we achieved this and that. But how small you are in relation to nature, this lesson is being taught by nature. This is one aspect. And now coming to your question, it's very specific. So far as we people are concerned, we hold online sessions. What about you? When you are convening these sessions online, certainly we are in touch with the students and we don't lose that link. What do you say, please?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. I hope you're also holding online sessions.
Yes, sir. I am also holding online sessions, sir.
No problem. The students will, but there will be some active listeners. There will be some passive listeners. Just say we have bitter experiences during these online transactions. Also, some people simply they'll be relaxing in armchairs and they'll be in a muted position. Unless we pose them questions, we are not sure whether they are listening to us. So such problems, we need to overcome these issues. So if you have self-confidence, definitely you'll be in a comfortable position to wriggle out of the situation. And I wish you all the best. The pandemic is a simple thing. And let us hope the third wave is not on its way.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Please.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, we have a question here in the chat. It's from, it says, how can overcome language barriers in children during these pandemic situations among reading and speaking?
Right. If it's the question from a teacher participant, you are the right resource. You try to train them. You try to provide a situation where they can come out, where they can find exposure to the language and its different skills. If it is a written thing, you have different tasks. If it is a spoken quotient, you will have different assignments for it. So you need to design your tasks in such a manner they'll equally be interesting for the children also. So you are the right resource.
Okay, there is another question here, sir.
Please.
How can we express our conversational skills in the starting part of any teaching practices? That's it, sir. Yeah.
Please repeat.
How can we express our conversational skills in the starting part of any teaching practice?
Any teaching practice. So when you use this umbrella term, any teaching practice, I need specific answers. So what kind of teaching practice you want to adapt? There are different teaching practices. What exactly do you desire? If your question is very clear, I am here with the answer. Say, how do you begin the conversation? Look at the conversation that I began. Look at the conversation that Zainab Khanam started. Just concentrate on the conversation that Dr. Shanta Madam started, or our Vice Principal, Dr. Satyanarayana Sir, started or initiated. So you have got different perspectives meant or suitable for different occasions or situations. We need to act accordingly. Ultimately, the interest arousal is the most sought after thing. How best you can sustain the interest among the participants, that's also very important. But there will be some disgruntled elements here and there. Even in the regular classroom, we must have come across many such situations. There will be some disturbances. We need to overcome them. We shouldn't lose our heart. So for all these things, you need to have your resourcefulness. Hope I satisfied you. Hello, Mr. Alex.
Yeah, that is it, sir. That is it. Thank you for
Oh,
answering all the questions.
any more queries, please?
Participants, if you have any further queries, you can ask, please.
No, madam. Thank you so much
We
for
have another
very
question,
useful.
sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much for useful content, madam.
Sir, we have another question, sir. How can we overcome language barriers? I can. Sorry.
Good. That's a good question. The success mantra for acquisition of language. So there is a, I mean, a lighter vein. I am telling this. 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Yes, 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. You need to work hard. You need to practice more. You need to find resources that make you find better exposure. Then only language acquisition occurs in a peaceful and a smoothly manner. So that's your hard work, how you desire. Based on your desire, you can put in the maximum efforts. So the success mantra of language acquisition, 1% inspiration, just like these webinars are your teachers or other things, and 99% hard work from your side.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, please.
I have a question, sir. Sir, this is Dr. C.V. Satyanarayana. Sir, general English, we have one standard statement that we have heard from our very, say, like fourth or fifth class. First impression is the best impression.
True, sir.
Can I have a couple of tips where when I meet someone, if I greet in a different way with a different word or a different vocabulary, will I have a kind of a different impression than what I am?
Right. You want to be different from others. You
Yep.
want to be unique. Yes. Even just say in communication skills, we keep telling, don't use the expressions that are in common. Say people, for example, even the word like no, thank you, welcome. Even if you open internet, there are many expressions that are overused by the people. So keep them aside, set them aside, and think of yourself on your own. Try to make some catchy expressions
Yes.
heard by the listeners or the receivers. Say, for example, let us start our own session. At the beginning, how it started, how it started. It may be your introduction, or it may be Hanam's, or it may be Dr. Shanta Madam's. So you may sound differently. No need to use the same protocol that you had to address like this, you had to greet like this. And that depends on your availability of your vocabulary and the expressions that you come across, the familiarity that you have with the language, uh, the usage part of the language. All these things come into picture. Then you can sound different.
Thank you, sir.
So instead of telling welcome, please.
Kanisha, ma'am.
Now, I request Jubin Alex to propose oath of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jubin Alex from the Department of English. It is my privilege to offer thanks on this occasion to everyone who have supported us in making this webinar a resounding success. Firstly, on behalf of our institute and Department of English, I would like to offer my utmost gratitude to the resource person Dr. S.M. Basha sir for taking time from his busy schedule for gracing today's webinar. I would like to thank Dr. Basha sir for the excellent presentation that made this webinar very meaningful and interesting. I'm positive that the participants are going to make use of the strategies that you have illustrated and will benefit from them. With deep sense of appreciation, I would like to thank our venerable principal, Dr. K. Shanta ma'am, for being the catalyst that inspired us to do our best. I would like to thank our honorable vice principal, Dr. C.V. Satyanarayana sir, for his constant guidance in making this webinar possible. I express my heartfelt gratitude to the head of the Department of English, Dr. P. Shahnaz ma'am, for initiating the idea of webinar and for guiding us through each step of it. I would like to acknowledge the sincere efforts of the Department of English and offer my thanks for turning this webinar into a feat of success. Finally, I thank all the participants online and the viewers on YouTube for turning up in such great numbers in time. Your significant participation and enthusiasm are the primary reasons for the initiation and success of today's webinar. Thank you all. And participants, click on the Zoom link, the Google form link that is provided in the chat, and it'll also will be provided in WhatsApp groups. And it is mandatory to receive the certificates. Okay. So I request all the participants to submit the feedback form immediately. Yeah.
So thank you once again, sir. Thank you very much for your kind cooperation, and it was indeed a very nice and informative session that we had today, sir. Thank you so much.